Slow your roll.
That'll fall in there, whatever.
He lost his mouse.
You had me at the mouse.
Very good.
Stay in your cage.
Are we live?
We are live.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. Today is September 11th of 2023. Would you stand with me as our usual protocol to get the meeting started with Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have a roll call, please.
With pleasure. Ms. Cheney,
Here.
Mr. Fisher,
Here.
Mr. Kmet,
Here.
Mr. Marks,
Here.
Ms. Snyder,
Here.
Mr. Van Harn.
Presuming everyone has had an opportunity to look at the agenda, is there a motion to accept the agenda or to amend it?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Do we have to move the strategic plan discussion?
Excuse me, sorry.
We're gonna move the strategic plan discussion to the council agenda. It came up in executive.
Correct. I'll speak to that in my
Okay.
mayor's report.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
There's a motion and a second.
So who was the second?
Uh,
Mr. Marks had it first. and the second.
Good. All right, any other discussion? Are we ready for a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. We do have a registered speaker this evening, but actually there was a communication failure on that. We have someone, I have a proclamation to make. This month is Suicide Awareness Month, and I'll be making a proclamation to be sharing with the Community Engagement Director of NAMI of Southwest Ohio, Emmeline Thompson. She will be participating in the role of, at a future council meeting, I believe it will be our next council meeting, giving an overview of what NAMI of Southwest Ohio does and different opportunities for partnership with the village to make sure that our residents know what resources are available in the community, particularly around mental health and support for families and individuals that are in that challenge. All right. With it being this month, Suicide Prevention Month, I have a proclamation. Number 2023-8. Whereas mental health is part of overall health and 1 in 5 adults experience a mental health problem in any given year. And whereas approximately 1/2 of chronic mental illness begins at the age of 14 and 3/4 by age 24, and long delays, sometimes decades, often occur between the time symptoms first appear and when individuals get help. And whereas suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States and the 2nd leading cause among young adults, and 90% of people who die by suicide had shown symptoms of mental health condition, according to interviews with family, friends, and medical professionals. And whereas early identification and treatment can make a difference in successful management of mental health illness and recovery, and is important to maintain mental health and learn the symptoms of mental illness in order to get help when it's needed. And whereas every citizen in the community can make a difference in helping end the silence and stigma that far too long has surrounded mental illness and discouraged people from getting help, public education and civic activities can encourage mental health and help improve the lives of individuals and families affected by mental illness. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Densmore of the Village of Gulf Manor, affirm and proclaim September 2023 as Suicide Prevention Month in the Village of Gulf Manor, and would ask for an affirmation from council.
Motion to affirm.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. And someone. And could someone take my picture, please? Here we go. Thank you for formality. I appreciate it.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wanted to take a moment with it being 9/11 to say a few words about the events of this day 22 years ago. Do I have that math correct? The United States has declared war 11 times in its history, the first against Britain, and the most recent declaration was during World War II. We haven't had any wars since then. Of course, isn't true. Our military engages in combat in multiple places around the world on a daily basis. And this unending military engagement became a national security policy in the aftermath of 9/11 specifically. So that is one of the legacies of 9/11, along with the new policies of mass surveillance and exceptions to what we used to consider as our right to privacy. So there's a lot to consider on 9/11 today, a lot to unpack. And despite all the different political factions we have, the common ground with regard to 9/11 has thus far correctly included the remembrance of lives lost that day, of course, and all the days following as a consequence. Sometimes we specifically single out the accounts of true courage, rightfully so, remembering the first responders and others who gave their lives in rescue efforts. So that's what I encourage us to do today, this 9/11, to reflect on where we are and where we've been and all the sacrifices in between. I heard back from Chief Meter of Deer Park Silverton about a question that was posed in our previous council meeting around how prevalent AEDs are in police departments around Hamilton County. We had some feedback from folks that were questioning having a community our size having our own police department. There was a question from the community about that. And one of the questions that I had asked was, about us having our own AEDs with our police department. That's a significant investment, a significant bonus to our residents, and was curious about how many other communities have that. And there are Deer Park, no. Silverton, no, but they're considering it. Amberley, yes. Montgomery, no. St. Bernard, no. Miami Township, this is Claremont County. Miami Township, yes. Union Township, some but not all. Anderson Township, yes. Milford, no. Madeira, no. Indian Hill, yes. So we were a standout here, and wanted to acknowledge that and give thanks to council and to our police department here in Beltmane for making it so. Want to thank, I believe all of you attended, most of you attended the event that we had, the celebration event last night, which was a huge success. My understanding is that we had our best counts were over 200 people that showed up. The band was fantastic. I love the band. My kids thoroughly enjoyed themselves. It's rare that you can have kids engaged in one activity for like over 2 hours, 3 hours, and still, be not wanting to leave. So it was wonderful. I want to make sure that we thank everyone that was involved in helping make the concert and the celebration a reality. So special thanks to, I'm told, Captain Reed for working with author Razi company, the Razzies, to provide the drone show. And also special thanks to Dave Williker of the Cincinnati Circus, who performed their thrill show free of charge to the village and residents. Thanks to the police officers who worked the detail. I saw Officer Forrest there with Chief, which another piece about what I loved about being there is with it being a fenced in. I've got a lot of kids, and they were able to just run freely around that whole area with all the other kids in the village. And it was a feeling of safety with doing that, both because we got a good, fenced in area. And then also, for anyone that had concerns, we did have a police officer that was on site and walking around. And thanks to Jason and Andy from the service department as well for all they did putting it together, and great appreciation for Edwin Butler and the Second Wind Band in the Tiny Bistro and Kona Ice, which I was able to partake in. And a shout out to Bryant Bussey and his park committee team who engaged with the residents throughout the evening. And I don't mean to leave out Deer Park Silverton as well for being there as our emergency services should it be needed. Special thanks there. So team effort, thank you everyone. Thank you for all the council members that turned out as well and helped make it a successful event.
We should make a special thanks to Mr. Hurst who ran with this thing.
Absolutely, from
Coordinated that and did it
yeah.
in rapid fashion.
This this event, as many of you know, its inaugural year, which I'm hopeful we can continue to call it that, was last year on our 75th anniversary of the village. And Mr. Hurth has been a significant piece. We go remiss without mentioning his contributions to making this event possible and such a successful event. There is a I am just going to go ahead and finish it up because I don't have that much longer than well. Okay. Yes.
Also, quick mention to Haven Manor, their cookie sale, and mine is walking path around the park. So, you got sales numbers in? Not yet. Okay. Haven't all been delivered yet.
There will be a, this is directed to our council members. There is a homeowners association meeting that will be held here in Chambers, I believe. Maybe it will be in the municipal hall for the Ridge Acres community. They've had a long history of strife with their homeowners association. And they've asked me to attend that. I'll be there just in an observing capacity, and working on with legal counsel and with administration of ways that we can possibly support them with some of the problems. It's I don't think anybody is in disagreement that there are portions of Ridge Acres that are a blight on Golf Manor, and the residents there don't like that either. And they've got some legitimate concerns about what's going on with their homeowners association. So if you'd like to hear that, hear their concerns, those will be spoke to, those will be addressed at that meeting. So to speak to that they've been dealing with this since, they've been documenting it since 2017. All right, photos of all that stuff. So it's an opportunity, if you don't already know, what's been going on in that area.
When's the meeting?
That is the 27th at 6 p.m., September 27th at 6 p.m. And I would have encouraged anyone that attends to be there purely to observe, because there's a lot of like legal kind of things in terms of what we can do and what we can't do. And we're working on that. I'm working on that. All right. If you have questions, I would ask that you address them to the administration or to myself in terms of what we're doing. But I think it is important for everyone to be kind of up to date with what's going on over there. We have, I believe everyone has heard from the, what's the department that does this? It's the property valuations. Auditor, Hamilton County Auditor's Office. All right, so we have specifically here the residential values from 2022 on average being, which were, 94,000, 93 market value being 152, so up by about 60, close to 60,000. All right. Lots of folks don't know what that means, and I am going to defer to our fiscal officer to talk some about what that means, both in terms of money that can be used for services that we'll be getting here in the village, but then what it means to property owners as well in terms of increased taxes.
So I will try and speak briefly. It's a very, I think, unpopular topic across the board for anyone who actually owns one of these properties, which is all of us, or at least lives here, right? So my understanding of this increase of property evaluations does not immediately translate into raised taxes. Now, people don't understand that because they look on the auditor's website and they say, well, it says 3%. So I'm paying 3% of my property taxes. And if this went up 50%, so then it's going to go up, it'll be the equivalent of 4.5% of what I have, or whatever it is, another 50% of what I'm paying. So if I'm paying $4,000, it's going to be $6,000. That's not true. So the way that the village millage works is that the first 10 mills of our village, which we have about 44 mills, the first 10 mills do go up with property value, which is only 25% of that portion, which even goes to the village, which is only 36%. All this stuff is on that online article. You can check it out on the website and read a little bit more into this, what I'm saying. So I will, like I said, I will be brief. So only 25% of that which goes to the village will be increased. The village will see a slight increase in property tax revenues, but everything that has been passed afterwards, the road levy, the police levy, any of the general fund levy, operating levies that we have, those will not increase. By law, in the state of Ohio, my understanding, and again, please forgive me if I'm wrong, my understanding is that those are all capped at the amount that they were passed at when they were passed. So no more money can be generated from those levies.
Right.
Now, getting back to the 60,
Could I- Just for clarification, when we do this, we always talk about a renewal or a replacement.
Yep.
When it's a renewal, that's what he's talking about. It's the original cost basis. That's what the taxes are based on. Typically, that's all we do here is a renewal, not a replacement.
right, so
Sorry.
that's
Sorry
what's
to
on it.
interrupt.
I appreciate that. That's
Yeah,
a very
that's
important point because that is the tax levy, which is on the ballot, literally cannot, by law, increase your taxes, even if your property value goes up. Whereas, if you look on Hamilton County's website, about 60% of your property taxes, 55, 60% depending, goes to Cincinnati Public Schools. Now, Cincinnati Public Schools also has the same cap. They are not allowed to collect more than what the levy was passed unless the valuation of the levy dips below 20 mils. At that point, then they are allowed to collect more. But it seems to me where property values are going up, then the millage is not going to go down for them, although technically the calculated millage would. So that is to be determined, and when those levies were passed, that's what the valuation is going to be based on. So it could be that there will be an increase, but I don't have that information, so I can't guarantee one way or the other. But we are already, it's like 70. The equivalent we pay is 72 mills, which is almost double the operating budget of Gulf Manor. Almost double goes to Cincinnati Public Schools. And that number, my understanding, again, by state of Ohio law, is capped unless the calculation goes below 20 mils. We shall see based on these evaluations.
Don't we have an awesome fiscal officer? Yeah. Yes. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate that comment, but
It's complicated, yeah. 3 quick announcements, and then we'll get back to the proper agenda here and skip the mayor's report because it's almost done here. The 3 opportunities for involvement. One is the Citizens Water Academy being hosted by Cincinnati Waterworks. So what this is, it's October 7th and October 10th. I have the times and dates here, which we can put into the minutes. A tour of Cincinnati Waterworks facilities, specifically water treatment coming out of the Ohio River with contamination things that have occurred in recent months. Lots of people have questions about how that whole system works. There will be tours of that facility that are not open to the ordinarily to the public. All right, and those will be going on in October that you can register for and go through and get an update on how water is treated and ask any questions that you have. So I wanted to make you guys aware of that. That's October 7th and October 10th. That's a Saturday and a Tuesday. And the time that you're looking at is like a couple of hours. The Saturday one is 9 to 11:30 a.m. The Tuesday one is 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. There is election of the supervisors for the Hamilton County Conservation District. This is for Ohio soil and water conservation. So again, on the topic of if you're concerned about how these natural resources are protected, the Board of Supervisors for that is elected, and that election is currently occurring and will occur through the 15th of September at 4 o'clock. The nominees are, so there's 4 positions there's 3 positions available, and there's 4 people running for them. Kenneth Petrin, Laura Boyd, Paul Kors, and Sam McKinley. And I have more information, which we will get, let me see here. I'll just read through it real quick so it can be on the record that way. Where you can vote at is at the Hamilton County Conservation District office from until the 15th of September, so that's Friday, during normal business hours, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And I'll make sure that if you have other questions about this, contact me directly. If you're here present, I have a document that you can look more closely at. Finally, there's many of you are familiar with Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. All right, I know that I take advantage of that. I got a lot of kids, they're great books. What's so magical about, if you don't know the lore around this, Dolly Parton with her great fortune has started a program where any kid to get a free book monthly to every kid. All right, and the Ohio Governor's Office has specifically partnered with them here in Ohio to make sure that that program is known to Ohio residents. One of the special things about, so basically you sign up for it and then you start getting a book every month that's sent through the mail to your household. All right. What's really special about it, in addition to, it's great education and everything, is there's a little picture of Dolly Parton in each one of the books, saying, this book is for you, which my kids absolutely love. They, feel that Dolly Parton is actually giving them this book. And they also get notified on their birthday, a special note from Dolly Parton wishing them happy birthday, which over the moon. All right, so it's a great program if you don't know about it. The Governor's Office has reached out to us specifically. They're reaching out to all the municipalities to look for ways to partner to get those numbers of participants up further. So if you have ideas beyond putting like cards in the little library, which we can do, is one idea of what we can do. But if you have additional ideas on how to get the word out about that, certainly let me know. It's the governor would like to know.
Consider putting it in the next newsletter if there's space.
Absolutely. All right, so with that, I apologize to, gosh, where are I'm drawing a blank on your name, sir.
Right.
And Simmers, who's filling in for the Denny Meter, Deer Park Silverton, for his report. Before I get you started, though, I'm so sorry, everyone. The agenda is all out of order. I need someone to make a motion to approve or amend our minutes from August 14th, 2023.
Motion to approve the minutes from May 14th.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you very much. And do we have the Deer Park Silverton fire report, please?
My report real quick tonight. Notice I've been off Manor, the numbers are down, which is great to see. But I'm always here to help out whenever. Any kind of things that are going on, we're happy to be a part of. So, events coming up soon, let us know. Glad we can help out.
All right. And so any questions on the report?
Overall workload, pretty normal.
Pretty normal. Yeah, we're averaging around 330 a month.
230 a month.
We did just hire a full-timer, and he starts tomorrow.
You did?
Yes, I hired one, starts tomorrow, on the one, so.
Excellent.
So we got 2 openings though, so let's go out there.
It's a struggle.
It is. It is.
How's your equipment?
So we had kind of medicated back for a few hours yesterday, and then went back out. We expect to hear back this week about that one, and then we're still waiting on parts for our cycle that we have. So we've been waiting to hear back for that for a few months now, so. We're at their mercy right now.
Trying to get another one built.
And we're waiting, yes, I mean, we're just waiting for a VIN number on that one, so.
Well,
So we get that.
Amazing.
So appreciate you coming out here. I would reiterate what we've all said in terms of the detail, the reports that we're getting from the department. We had nothing like that in the past, so really appreciate
That is
the
chief for you
partnership.
right there.
Yeah, yeah. And particularly, I know a lot of residents are concerned or have expressed concerns in the past about response times out here. We've got the data on that,
Yep.
so we're able to provide that to residents that are interested. And in combination with the AEDs that we have with our police department, I think we're sitting in a really good place with the services that we're having. So thank you for that. And if there's no other questions, I will turn it over to Mr. Britnoff with both the administration report and the fiscal financial report. Thank you.
Okay. So a hearty welcome back to Chief Campbell on his return, and thanks to Captain Reed for leading the police department during his absence. Quickly, we'll go through the road projects. The WEU road project final asphalt has been installed, as well as striping for the road and pedestrian markings, as you hopefully have noticed.
Yeah.
There are some final detail items that will be reviewed in the final acceptance walkthrough later this month. I'm sure you'll hear about that next council. A new ADA compliant crosswalk construction does continue. The basics of the crosswalk are there. Everything else seems to be waiting for Alita to come back and finish that section. But the section that they did complete does look pretty fantastic, and it's striped very nicely. Elbrook removal and replacement of the curb actually, I believe, took place today. I think it was today. I don't know if you, well, it wouldn't be yesterday, Sunday. That you can already see significant portions of sidewalk also that have been removed. Driveway aprons and sidewalk areas selected for replacement have already also begun. Some positive news: we've received preliminary approval for the round 3 SORTA funding for Ridge Acres and Yosemite avenues. We've also applied for municipal road funding to complete the improvement of Yosemite in tandem with Ridge Acres, which should reduce the total cost of the project. There will be legislation about that tonight, my understanding, that Mr. Butler has prepared. The Los Angeles traffic study draft has been accepted. Thank you for feedback from the mayor, council. I happen to have seen Ms. Cheney's contributions, as well as the police and service departments. Facets of the report will be incorporated into the Weehee and Elbrook intersections. I think that lighted crosswalk has been something that was discussed and will be included.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's my understanding and certainly hope.
Good.
The LED streetlight replacement, I'm sure everyone has probably noticed, and if not, go outside, not now, and check out the new LED lights that are throughout the village. It's a very big positive move for the village. I think it's a nice color.
I think so
I think
too,
it's a
actually.
good
I was
I'm just saying.
I was someone who expressed a lot of concern about what this was actually going to look like, hearing horror stories from other communities. I think it looks good.
It's uniform throughout the village. You'll notice different lights have different powers. That's all based on, Duke's pre-existing data that they had for what was necessary on the streets. My understanding is that there is still an outstanding study being conducted by Duke to evaluate the streets. We will follow up based on recommendations from the executive committee. The administration will follow up with Duke about what's the status of those studies and to try and make sure those are completed before the fall leaf session, the fall leaf season. So that again, thank you for all of your feedback on the. I'm sorry, that was back on that safety. No, sorry, it's not my report. I apologize. Okay, resident feedback has certainly been positive. We're engaging the road engineer to develop a strategy again to analyze and evaluate lighting. Park improvement projects have been completed. We mentioned this a little bit in executive. We're working on replacing the fence and including an automated fence system so that the police department doesn't actually have to go out and unlock the fence for people. It will be open automatically when park hours are available. It's a pretty straightforward, pretty streamlined process. Trees obtained through Hamilton County Department of Conservation and the mayor's tree program funded by Duke Energy will be planted across the front of the park, replacing the larger invasive grass species that was removed. The improvements to the amphitheater worked well for the setup of the band and was enjoyed by all who attended. Thanks to all who helped with the celebration and concert. There were more than, it's believed that there were more than 200 in attendance. Special thanks to Captain Reed for working with Arthur Rossi and company to provide the drone show. And a special thanks to Dave Wilker and the Cincinnati Circus who performed the thrill show free of charge to the village and residents. Thanks to police officers who worked in detail and to Jason Andy from the service department. Again, finally, a great amount of appreciation for Edwin Butler and the second of the band, Tiny Bistro and Kona Ice. And shout out to Brian Bussey and his park committee team who were involved with residents the entire time. That would be the end of the administrative report. I will take any questions if there are any, though it is not my area of expertise necessarily.
I think if we have to mention that we were able to replace the LED lights of, was it all the ones that we own or Duke Energy owned, the lights?
So all of the LED lights that were owned by Duke Energy have been replaced. There are a few standouts you'll probably notice on either side of Losantaville, in between Bellbrook and Weehee. There's still a couple holdouts there. There's also one that's like over a parking lot, which is kind of interesting. The Cardinal Health has, it seems, their own, which is not an LED. That's not good involved in this. So it's just a matter of determining the owners of those, and if those were put up illegally, is that something that can be incorporated into the overall?
Yeah, I talked to a resident and they wondering about, and so I thought important to mention it now, that there's some that haven't been done yet, but
It's very hot. It's very hot.
So, and then, how does the park relate to this again?
So there was discussion about getting an expansion of lighting into the park. Duke Energy basically said, we're happy to set up a meter, but you guys are gonna have to set up the lights. So they won't do that for us. That's something that we would have to contract an electrician. My understanding from the service department is that that is not something that is really in the scope of their expertise. It requires more certifications. I believe he mentioned IDI. I'm not familiar enough with those codes, but that would require a private contractor to get done. And then Duke is happy to set up the meter to charge us.
Yep, always.
As we can understand, right? Yes.
Do we know when the bathrooms in the park will be winterized? And do we have a plan for letting residents know that they are no longer available for the season?
So my understanding is that there will be an automatic lock mechanism for those doors, which should aid in that, meaning if they're automatically closing and they lock automatically, so obviously if they're open, they're open. But in terms of the winterizing schedule, I had not heard anything from Jim about that. I could certainly follow up with him, and I will
I think
put
it'd
that
be
in the
nice
report.
if we had signage on the bathrooms that like closed for the season. The municipal building is open through these hours.
Yeah.
Push notification on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was something else that I forget. With leaf pickup, when is our last brush pickup? Is that something we can push through as a push notification for that?
Who is that?
That I know
With
that's,
the brush pickup ends when leaf pickup starts, so I think people might wanna
so that one,
have that.
that one is on the website actually, and that
Okay.
continues through October 31st. But I can ask Mr. Earth about doing a push notification. Okay, yeah, that'll be the minutes, so
Thank you.
make sure that Mr. Earth sees that. Okay,
As a point of clarity, and you addressed it, but there might be some confusion around, so Mr. Marks raised the issue that when we're evaluating our lighting situation, that in some areas of the village, there's so much foliage that there might not be as much light as there would be if that foliage was properly cut back. And that it's important to make sure that the assessment occurs before all that foliage, like before all those leaves fall, because then we might get an assessment that the lighting's fine and not really recognize that there's such an issue, which many of us recognize around that foliage not being cut back. So he had proposed, and there was full agreement that we should make sure that that evaluation of the lighting situation occurs before the leaves start falling, which was covered, which is, I don't know if everyone actually caught the nuance of that.
I think Mr. Frithoff was gonna pass that on, right?
Right, yes.
It is in the minutes, though.
Yeah.
So, any other questions for the administration? And now I put on my magical fiscal officer hat. So the financial packet for August 2023 has been posted. I can run through that again if everyone wants, or we can accept it as it was given in the financial meeting. Is that, do we need to go through, do I need to read it? Okay, so that's
Yeah.
Mr. Butler. And that gavel. Okay, for the month of August, fiscal year 2023, the village had a combined bank balance of $2,545,632.89. Of this amount, $917,812.80 can be found in the village's primary checking account, while the balance resides in several village dedicated funds. Am I going too fast for anyone? The village generated.
Slow down for the record, actually.
No problem.
Not slow, but.
The village generated. Okay, no problem. The village generated $79,897.55 in general fund income tax receipts. Reader collections were significantly higher than August of the previous year. The year, the village has collected $716,625.46 in general fund income tax receipts. This is just over 11% higher than August of fiscal year 22. There was no change to property tax in August. Again, we are expecting the second half of property taxes to be received. Was last year, it was in August. This year, still third of the way through September, it is still outstanding. The village received $140,823.56 in general fund receipts. This number is $286,791, less than August of fiscal year 22. Significant shortfall can be attributed again to the outstanding property tax receipts from Hamilton County. The DEA program received an additional $12,075.91, which puts the annual total at $113,400.09. The village still projects receipts of approximately $172,000 for the year for that program. The Star Ohio Fund earned $7,150.53 for the month of August, totaling $40,582.96 for 2023. The current $500,000 balance of the reserve is placed in a Fifth Third savings account, earning 5.25, really prime minus 0.25% interest. That account was set up incorrectly, but will have retroactive interest backdated to August 18th. The account projects an additional probably 25 to 28, I think I said 27 to 29,000 approximately dollars in annual interest earnings at the current balance and at current interest rates. Again, if those go higher, the balance goes higher. If those go lower, then that'll be a lower interest earning. Top 5 payees for the month were Rack and Blower, Payroll, Adlita, DPS, and OPNF. That's Ohio Police and Fire. That's the pension for the police. Total village general fund appropriation spend for the month was the amount of $226,628.26. This figure is $44,884.34 more than August of fiscal year 22. The village had 20 outstanding payments. The total $55,354.65. Village administration will continue to monitor appropriation spend and make any adjustments deemed necessary. Can I get a motion to accept?
Motion to accept.
Second.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Thank you, sir. And so that everyone is aware, no, you're fine. I wanted to make clear the context of it, that Mr. Krivnoff is wearing both the administration hat as well as the fiscal officer hat. And he's doing it in like an 80-degree chamber, and he's being told to slow down by the mayor. All right, so thank you for your service to our community.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate the acknowledgement.
And if there's no other questions, I will ask for Chief Campbell and welcome him back and ask for his report.
See if I remember how to do the mayor's report.
It's embedded.
Mayor's report for the month of August. Total to the village, $3,721. Total to the state, $932.50. Total to the county, $31.50. For a total sum of $4,685. That is the end of my mayor's report.
I'll make a motion to accept it.
Second.
All those
Did you get the accompanying? I'm sorry. See, I did forget. Did you get the accompanying citation report? I didn't see that.
No,
I did not.
I didn't see it.
I have a copy in front of me. I'll get it to Mr. Krivnoff or Mr. Hurst so it can be included in the minutes. But basically for the month of August, it looks like there were 32 citations filed with the village. It looks like there was a lot of expired plates, speeding, and no driver's license were the three most common areas of citation. There were also some maintenance code and trash tickets written as well. That's that. So I'll make sure that's in the minutes for next time.
Thank you.
And then the last thing, my first day back was last Wednesday, and it was good to be back. And as I was heading home, thinking how good it was to be back, my vehicle was rear-ended.
Oh.
So
No.
I received an estimate today, and I'm working on getting that fixed. It's drivable right now. All the equipment is okay inside. The emergency lights and sirens won't function now, so I won't be able to use that if I need to. But I can use the vehicle until we get it back, probably mid-October. And that's all I have.
You're all right, so that's all it counts.
Was the mayor's court report?
So was not, all those in favor of accepting the mayor's court report?
Aye.
Aye.
Without objection, I think that is unanimous.
Good
Thank
catch,
you,
Rob.
sir. I need to sign it too, if you've got that. Has it been passed around?
I have my copy of it.
We need to sign a
You can
copy.
use it. I'm not taking it home.
You have that?
Yeah, just. That's the minutes. One of the things that I was reminded of that I did not mention, the mayor's tree program. The first round trees have been delivered. 2/3 of the trees, I believe, have been delivered to all our residents. They were delivered today. We gave them a heads up about that last week, sent out an email to everyone to let them know that they'd be coming this week. Thank you to Jim Kodoff in the maintenance department for delivering those trees to the residents. The program did not stipulate that. We were not planning on doing that. All the residents were to be responsible for picking up the trees themselves. Jim volunteered taking care of that. So I want to make a special mention of that, had those trees hand delivered to the residents, which is a great service. The rest of those trees are coming. The rest of those trees best planted a month from now, and will be coming a month from now. And hopefully we will have the second round completed by then as well. So the second round, all the trees will be delivered in October. What date were we talking about? Is that like the 10th or something?
20-something.
20-something?
Not the 25th, I believe.
Okay. So, yeah, still some space there in the second round if anyone's interested in getting a tree for their yard. And I will turn it over to Mr. Butler for our solicitor's report.
Thank you, Your Honor. There's one piece of legislation that's been distributed, Resolution 2023-22, regards participation of the village in the Ohio Public Works Improvement Program. It's kind of it anticipates availability of funds to the village and allows the administration to work with the engineer and the state of Ohio to get the funds without having to come back to council every time. So it is a resolution, so I need just a motion to read by title only.
So moved.
Second. Is there a second?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Resolution number 2023-22, a resolution authorizing the village administrator to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission state capital improvement and/or local transportation improvement programs and to execute contracts as required. I believe Mr. Britnoff actually referred to this earlier. So I need just a motion to pass.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is this an all in favor or a roll call?
Let's do a roll call. I think we should just stick to a roll call on everything.
All right, roll call, please.
We have more context to this, what is this for?
Yes.
This is for Ridge Acres and Yosemite Avenue to engage with OPWC, who is where we generally get grants and loans from the state. It's also so that Mr. Hurth can engage with the engineer on that project and not have to come back to council every time we need money in order to pay them to complete that project. Again, this is in concert with the municipal road fund and the sort of preliminary grant that have so far been on track to receive.
This is regular road work.
I'm sorry?
What is this, regular road work?
This is, my understanding is that they're I mean, yeah, it's paving and repairing the streets on Ridge Acres.
Is it curbs and sidewalks as well?
I don't know to what extent. I know that there was originally talk about just repairing the joists, and now my understanding is it's actually paving both streets properly with asphalt. But again, I'm not privy to those details quite yet.
But it is a rehab and repair of the street, both streets. They do.
Is there any other discussion or concerns for a motion to suspend, or?
Oh, you don't need a motion
Oh,
to
yeah.
suspend.
Yeah.
We only need one reading and then just a motion to pass.
Oh, okay, so it's multiple readings.
No,
Or just
no,
this
No,
one?
we're done.
Ordinance
Okay.
was required 3, resolution just 1.
Right, okay. So any concerns? All right, roll call, please.
Ms. Cheney?
Yes.
Mr. Fisher? Mr. Fisher?
We're doing roll call. Okay, I
Oh.
apologize. I didn't recognize that. I was asking if there was any other questions and did not see you indicate so. I apologize. Do you have any other questions on
I
that?
just want to know if this was standard or this is, because it does give all the power over and no finance or nothing has to come back. That proof.
Yes, we've actually done this before. It's a shorthand way of getting monies from the state and be able to apply them to the roads, streets, without coming back to the council.
So just to give you a little bit more of a bird's eye view, the way that the money works is that we can't spend the money that the state or county gives us, no matter how much money they give us. Once it hits $50,000, we can't spend it without your authorization. But when they send us the money, we have to be able to pay those bills. If we have to wait in between the meetings in order to come back, it delays the whole process, and then we don't get our streets paved as quickly as possible, right? Whereas if the administrator has that ability, so then he can he's officially spending all that money on behalf of the village. It's coming from the state and from the county. There will be money that comes from our bank account, that comes from the village road levy fund. But the vast majority in these, I mean, we as a first example, a little bit more than 50% actually ended up being from SORTA. We got money from the municipal road fund. We got money from Amberley, and our portion on $1 million street program was only about $260,000. So again, it is a lot of money, but it's in the context of a bigger road project. There's so much more money coming from other places that we can't be restricted to have to come back to council and say, can we spend this money that they just gave us? If we delay the road projects too much, then we actually have to give it back. So once we sign contracts, obviously we want to be able to move forward. That's really the thrust of that request.
And it's important that he points out that this is not money from our general fund. This is money that's given to us by the state.
And from the road.
Right. This is the vast majority is not coming from the road fund.
Answer my question.
Okay, sure.
Roll call, yes.
Yes. Thank you, guys. It's important that this stuff get fleshed out.
Did he make it through the roll call?
Not
No.
yet.
No.
We're on Mr. Knipp. Yes. Mr. Marks?
Yes.
Ms. Snyder?
Yes.
Mr. Van Harn?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you, everyone.
I have nothing else. Thank you.
All right, so executive committee, Mr. Van Harn.
Let's see, we were going to talk about the strategic plan, we decided to move that to council, to discuss. We got the Parks Project report, which everybody's heard. Talk about the street and park lighting. We had an executive session regarding compensation of an employee. And this may get flushed out, but had residents, anyway, there's been feedback, and we have Ridge Acres and the appropriations budget discussions on for the next agenda, for the next meeting to discuss. We just put them out there, we have not, we will discuss them. End of report.
All right, great. Thank you. Are there any questions or make a statement about the strategic plan? So first off, I want to thank Mr. Fisher for consolidating all the input from the council members. Thank all council members that provided input on the strategic plan. Recommendation was made to have the draft version go to the administration and the chairs for any final kind of feedback on, and have a telephone conference between myself and the administration and our consultants and the county around making sure that everything that needs to be there is there before we're actually voting on it and going line by line with it. All right, so when we have the blessing of basically the consultants in the county on what has been put together, then it will be in the packet for everyone, ideally at the next council meeting, so that everyone has an opportunity to look at it. And then what we'll do in council is go line by line so that everyone's on the same page. All right, so that's the plan moving forward with the strategic plan. Mr. Fisher, finance report.
Finance for tonight, I went through everything that Mr. President just said. There are 2 points that finance did talk about. Number one was we did recommend the fiscal officer to push the county to get us our $286,000 and change that we put it into our account and we start building interest on it. Instead of them taking interest, we want in our account taking interest. We did voice some concern that it doesn't look good for the county that we're pushing out the money because it makes it look like we're in bad financial standings. But if you outweigh that with 5.6%, then it's worth it for us to push that. Plus, they could come look and order us and see that our bank accounts are in good quality position. That was number one. Number two, we did approve a raise for our administrator. We updated the salary. We need to direct the solicitor to get a resolution about the salary 6.5. And that is the end of my finance report. So one thing regarding all this work that I did put in, these 2 folders are everybody's information put together. We were going to give it out tonight, and they did suggest that we first get our blessing from our, instead of us starting to fight and bring everything up, let's get our blessings in a hot room. That's going to get the blessings from our consultants first, and then we'll get it, but it is 99.9% complete. Which I do appreciate. One very interesting point is that I got back from a lot of you, and almost everybody had the same points, just under different categories. And it was very funny to watch. I was all thinking on the same, and we're all consistent on what we've been talking about. Just a matter of wording and how to put it. But basically, the ideas are there, and you'll see, sometimes you'll see, oh, this one, hey, here's my idea, and you'll find them in the next one, but it's somewhere in there. And we appreciate everybody's feedback and work on that. Now I understand why.
If I may, when I talked to the mayor about it, part of this too is we've already attempted to act on our strategic plan, but there's something about it that the county says, no, we can't do anything. So by going through this exercise with them, saying, yes, this is what we want, and now we can act. Because if we do it wrong again, I'm not saying we're not doing bad work, and they have to say, come back, nope, not there yet. Well, I still don't know exactly what they're at. So
This is the straightest line to what we want to be done.
Yeah. So
That's what you want to do.
Great, and thank you again, Councilman Fisher. Planning Commission, Mr. Marks, anything beyond when the next meeting is?
There's a meeting planned for October 2nd. However, currently there's no business. So the chances of that happening are probably small.
All right, so on the books is Monday, October 2nd at 6:30 PM. Pending any business, currently no business. It's pending. Community engagement, Mr. Bussey.
Hello, everyone. Community engagement hasn't held a meeting since the last report given to this council. The next community engagement meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, September 19th at 9:30 a.m. in this room. But I can say that the second or summer edition village newsletter was fully distributed before the C76 event to get the word out about the event. Many thanks to Mayor Stephanie Dinsmore, Elaine Moskovich, Phyllis Thomas, Charlotte Brewer, and Melody and Mail for distributing the newsletters door to door and for doing the work so promptly. I'm especially grateful for these folks as I was on vacation and these volunteers made it all happen while I was away. Moving on to a parks update, the Parks Committee met on August 31st to discuss the parks online survey. If you didn't already vote at the C76 event, then please consider voting using the QR code on the newsletter or following the instructions on the newsletter for filling out and returning a paper survey. We will be creating a Facebook post with a survey link this week that will include a deadline to hopefully receive some more survey results. Currently, there's 85 total responses, over 50 coming last night from C76's event with the sticker dots. Once the data is fully analyzed, we will share those results with council and hope to create a guide for future park improvements. The next Parks Committee meeting is scheduled for Thursday, September 28th at 6 p.m. in this room. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Bessie.
I would just like to say that the way you set that up in the park last night was really unique and attracted attention because people couldn't get in without passing.
That was nice.
But it was nice. You two guys did a great job on that.
Yeah,
It was
you
nice.
did it. You did a great job.
So thanks.
Thanks to my wife.
Well, you'll pass that along.
Yeah.
And we're sorry that you're moving to OT,
Yeah,
but we know
eventually.
eventually, but yeah,
There's no definite date.
but sometimes it's a good move for you.
All right, any other questions for Mr. Bussey? Wanted to thank you again for specifically that work on what your committee is doing to give recommendations to council about what people are interested in. I found it really fascinating to look and see what people were voting for and everything. There was some things on there, some of the suggestions I was like, that's awesome, and usually it's like my ideas are on good ideas. Like we all are, right? But to have that kind of a platform to get everyone's great ideas and then be able to share which ones we all like, just awesome. So great job. Thank you.
I did have one more thing to add. I forgot. I'll probably be here before the next newsletter. I'll be given a report before the next newsletter goes out. But I do want to work with the administration pretty soon. The main topic on the newsletter is going to be the push for the app. That's going to be the main. There's always like a feature story on the front, but the app is going to be in there. And I just want to remind everyone here that they could, contribute ideas or articles. Welcome to hearing those. I was told, maybe it's a positive story. Maybe mention the street lighting, kind of inform the residents about that. That's been going on. I'm still looking for a fun fact too. If anyone has any fun facts about the village, please, text or email me. It'd be kind of cool to kind of put something in there, kind of start incorporating some fun facts and more, village, things about the village and history and get that going with there. And then the question here about the Dolly Parton Library, I heard that suggestion tonight about putting that in the next newsletter. We can consider that. I was curious if there was numbers on that. So there's a report from the Ohio Department or someone from the state gave a.
Yeah, they're reaching out to us. So they sent a formal letter reaching out saying we want to partner to increase the numbers on this. I was asked by the administration if I knew anything about the program and was like, oh yeah, and lots of people do, and it's great. And yeah, this is certainly something we want to increase the numbers on. So I'm, the timeline in terms of when the next newsletter goes out, I would think that we'd be able to connect with the state and say, here's our ideas. I don't know if they have funding that they may be connecting to helping get the word out and how that would play out. But I'm curious to know that before we actually, dig in our heels about what we're going to do on it, because there may be more opportunities that are available than are currently apparent.
Yeah, I'd love to hear how many people in our community are actually signed up, because when you sign up for CPS in particular, which our school district boundaries are, they do elect you, or they suggest it actually. They highly suggest signing up, and that's how we learned about it. We signed up for it.
Yeah.
So we
curious what the numbers were. for our
Yeah.
community.
I know where I learned about it, Cincinnati and Hamilton County Public Library pushes out and all their news stuff. They, put that out there for folks as well. So, to your point, good idea to get a sense of how saturated we already are and how much more work there is to do. So, thank you for your report, Ms. Cheney. Do you have anything on the education front?
Just the PRM LSDMC meets this Wednesday at 3:00 at the school. And then CPS notified me today that they're holding the ad hoc meeting tomorrow.
Thank you.
I'm gonna try to attend it.
You're gonna try what?
Try to attend it.
Good. Mr. Fisher, any nonprofit report? My understanding is the Community Engagement Committee will meet on Tuesday, September 19th at 9:30 a.m., correct? All right. And let's see. Finance Committee report, we already did that. Did I go out of order again? I did, didn't I? I apologize. And so is there any other business? If not, I will do the final announcements and ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll have an announcement.
Okay.
No, because I said I was rusty when I gave my report.
Okay.
I wanted to thank Captain Reed, Lieutenant Forrest, Corporal Glenn, and all the men and women that worked so hard while I was gone. And hopefully they don't watch the meeting, they just read the minutes. That's that thank you at the front.
Right.
Yeah.
But as a body, we're allowed to edit our minutes. So, yes, motion to move it to the front. There you go. All right, so Records Commission is scheduled to meet Monday, October 9th at 5:45 p.m. Next executive committee meeting is scheduled for that same date at 6 p.m. Next full council meeting, same date at 7 p.m. So not seeing finance on there. I'm
Finance is
presuming.
October 23rd.
There we go. So we are switching back to having the committee meetings on separate dates rather than having them on the same date. So the Financial Audit Committee will be at 6 p.m. on October 23rd, followed by the Finance Committee at 6:15 p.m. and full council at 7 p.m. All right. And is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Without objection, I'll take that as unanimous. Thank you, everyone, for your service.
Huh?
Is it?
Certainly not.
Might be.
No.
It's time for a drone show.
Well, it
Oh,
might
it's drone show time, that's right.
Almost 8:45.
be. Sunset's like before 8 o'clock.
So I just realized my plate of Haven's cookies are in my other bag.
Sure, let me know what you want.